What's up? Welcome back. I'm John Stark from AcTheMovieGuy.com, your favorite blind film critic, and today we're going to talk about War Machine, the Marvel movie that nobody saw that stars Don Cheadle. But I got to see it. Disney invited me to. They didn't. This is on Netflix, which makes it even more confusing because they already have a Netflix original film called War Machine, starring Brad Pitt. So now they have two. Guys, it's a cool title, but you can think of something else, right? Right? Anyway, um War Machine is the latest Netflix movie of the week. This one stars Alan Richson. It also has a robust, do I say supporting cast? A robust field of ants that surround Alan Richson. Poorly underdeveloped characters that support Richson in his quest to dominate the movie, ranging from Dennis Quaid, Esai Morales, Jai Courtney, Stefan James, Keenan Lonsdale. I'm sure I'm forgetting some people. It really doesn't matter. Like, beyond that point, no, none of the people really matter, to be totally honest. I mean, Stefan James maybe a little bit, but Dennis Quaid has like a scene where you're like, oh, this is a Dennis Quaid moment. We're going to talk about why I roll my eyes a little bit at that. And don't worry, this is not like a bash review for this movie either. I just there's some eye rolls here, but there's also some good things. So, audio description is done by Descriptive Video Works, done by a writer and narrator I'm unfamiliar with. So, kudos to DVW for deepening their base. Um, there was one point, although if you asked me, I would not remember it, where it felt like there was a weird pause, like a weird breath, or like the narrator was reading something and that's not where the sentence ended, and they paused and kept going. So they read something like they were walking along the tree line, and then they. I was like, okay. Why did we pause? did you did you need that breath? Was that a AD engineering thing? I have no idea. But there was an extra beat somewhere that made me think like, did somebody put a period there? There are weird things that happen a lot of times when you force text to speech to read things, because then it's really exactly as the script is written. So you get a lot of mispronunciations or spelling errors that weren't caught end up getting read into text to speech things, which is really revealing if you have a bad writer. These are humans because they're credited, unless we're making up human names now and assigning them to AI, which is totally possible. But I don't think DVW has started to do that. So I just celebrate the fact that it's new talent being able to work, and they should. We have to find new talent. We can't just assume that the same five people who have been writing all the excellent scripts and 10 narrators can survive for the rest of our lifetime. So we have to cultivate new talent somehow. Um, I Not my favorite AD narration matchup in terms of like casting and thinking about like who's right for what project. Um, just because it's an action movie and this is kind of flat narration for the kind of movie that it is, it's not really exciting at all. Like I lean a little bit more towards complimentary audio description, if not performative. Complimentary meaning that at least somebody sounds like and matches the tone of the film. I didn't think this really matched the tone of War Machine, which is pretty much like a straight up military action film with some science fiction elements to it. So, what is War Machine? War Machine is a reminder that Alan Richson, who, had he come up in a different generation without streaming, would possibly be having these movies go to theaters, because he is sort of on the rise in terms of film star. And where all of these other actors who are in the film with him, even Jai Courtney, have had films that have gone to theaters to test their strength, Alan Richson largely ends up in television work. He doesn't really get to test his might on screen, and when he does, he's in like the ensemble of the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare, which is not really his movie, so it shouldn't really be his fault in the box office. He's not the lead character in that film. So, um, but here he plays 81. They don't have names. Uh, and at the beginning, we're sort of clunkily introduced to him. He's working on a car. He's there with his brother, and they're lamenting their situation. And his brother's like, "Yo, we gotta do this ranger thing." And it is so. I hated the beginning of this so much. It's so poorly written. He's like RAGT or something like that, and and it stands for something. He's like, "We got to do the Ranger Assessment Global Training," or he's like, "Ratchet, you what? That's not for us. We're too old to do that." And like, um, I felt like a lot of heavy exposition, and then there's a way that the guy, the brother dances off, where he's like, "I can't wait, super excited about this. Oh my god, my futures looks so bright right now." his his optimism was like at peak level, and I was like, something's gonna happen to this dude. Something happens to that dude, of course. And I guess you could be like, spoilers, bro. And it's like, this counts for like the whole movie. This is like what the whole movie's built on. So, sit down, sir. You haven't seen the movie. I have. I judge what's a spoiler and what's not a spoiler. So, yeah, something happens at the beginning, and then that fuels Alan Richardson, who wasn't really super excited about Rajet training or whatever it's called, to be a ranger. And but he does it in memory of, and he's tough, and he's injured, and he's got this like brace in his knee thing going on. But he's like GI Joe, like all the way. This dude is like a rock. Like, if you've seen him on Reacher, how he pretty much just like punches through everything and throws people across rooms. It's basically that. He's basically just doing that character again. So he signs up, and he's got all these young people, and they're like, "Why is somebody like you? Why is a P6 with a silver star signing up for this?" And he just kind of stoically stands there. And they want to make him a team leader. He's like, "No, I'd rather not." So then we enter phase two of the film, which is the unnecessary training sequence, which is unnecessary because we don't really get to learn much about the other recruits. We just they're just kind of around him at all times. The story, this would be an excellent chance for the story to flesh out the other characters and to have them, and to form the kind of camaraderie that will be needed for later on in the film. No, no, it's really just about Alan Richardson being, "I can do it. I'm amazing." So he goes through all of the Ranger training exercises. He never gets eliminated. It's like a reality show type thing where people along the way, they're like, "Unfortunately, you didn't make the cut. Oh, God." Then they have to go. So he makes it all the way through, and then he has like this final meeting where they're like, we're going to send you home. It's like, "What? I passed every single test. What are you talking about? You don't make friends. And that's important here." I was laughing because I was like, "You haven't even bothered to develop these. I didn't even know Dennis Quaid was in this movie." And you're going to talk to me about character development? How dare you, sir? Sit down, Patrick Hughes. Sit the fuck back down in that chair, you piece of shit. Anyway, it's so stupid. His character development is so shitty, but yet his character for 81 hinges on the fact that he hasn't made friends. You haven't made any friends worth making. He makes one sort of friend, and it's in number 7, which I said was Stefan James. I said kind of Stefan James is like the only one that matters, because he's the only one that like bothers to spend any time to talk to anyone who tries to go like, "Hey man, nice tattoo." So something about like he clocks Richmond's tattoo for meaning something. He's like, yeah, it's one of those. And he's like, how did you know that? And he's like, I know. Like, that's their deep conversation. That's how they become best friends. So, um, all this leads to what is supposed to be like a war game. But because the film is terrible at telegraphing things, they've already let you know through the background and the fact that some of the kids have to. See, unfortunately, some of these recruits have to actually comment on it. We can't just hear it in the background. We can't, it's bad enough that we hear it in the background because they don't watch TV that much. But in the background, they talk about how there's some sort of like something is headed to Earth from deep space and they don't know what it is. And so the fact that they have to comment on it is, and they're like, oh, it's probably some NASA conspiracy, isn't it? Don't bring more attention to it. It's already there. Like, assume your assume your audience is at least somewhat functionally intelligent and hasn't just been watching, you know, I don't know. What's the dumbest Netflix show you can think of all over and over? Um, try. Please just try to make something that's relatively intelligent. So, of course, I'm sitting through the whole first half of the movie with the clunky sequence with the bro at the beginning who's like, I'm gonna live a great life. It's gonna be amazing. Oh, God, I'm not. And then moving into the recruit segment with a bunch of recruits that are numbered, have no names. And then Dennis Quaid, who I don't think has been in the movie until this point, decides to say that Alan Ritchson hasn't made friends. So we finally get to the war game, and as part of, I guess, Ritchson and his like stoicism and staying around, they've decided to force him to be team leader because of his experience and his silver star and stuff like that. So he has to lead them, and basically they're supposed to go rescue some guy at a plane. Doesn't matter because they never do it. Um, this is where the film gets science fiction because as they're out doing their thing, they find out, oh my god, there's a giant freaking robot and it's trying to kill us. And theretofore becomes the good movie, um, where the ones that have basically just been introduced to be killed off one by one because they have no personalities or names or anything like that, keep getting picked off by this robot in rather kind of destructive and bloody, gory ways. This robot has like lasers that just like burn through people and like blow off limbs, and you know what I'm saying? Like it gets super violent. So, and he's trying his best to keep his squad alive against a force that he's never had to fight before. And yeah, this is the second act. This is the part of the movie I don't want to spoil for you because it's good. This is actually, if you can make it to this part of the film, it will get better. The action sequences are way better. The direction of the film picks up. Alan Ritchson's stoicism and his action hero thing actually has like a place to go instead of him just sulking around, like, you know, like he's been denied a bathroom. He's just like wandering around like he has no place to go. Um, but yeah, I mean, the film also does an excellent job of doing what I would call as sort of the Gareth Edwards. Which one did Godzilla and Monsters? It's Edwards, right? Not Davis. Oh my God. Uh, anyway, um, I was making a monsters reference in the fact that you really don't see the robot that much. It's not in the film. Once it joins the film, it's not in it like all day, every day. Do you know what I'm saying? Like there are plenty of times where the squad is like having to like move and they're trying to figure out how to get downriver or climb a rock face or go down a rock face. You know what I'm saying? Like there are all these different things, and they have to keep, you know, following the team leader, even though Richardson is having a really hard time keeping all of these randoms alive. You know, slowly one by one, something will happen, and like one of them will get picked off, and so the numbers constantly dwindle. But the ones that are remaining are, you know, always trusting in him because he's the one with the experience. He's the one with the silver star, and so he must be the one. And of course, he hates that burden, And you see that in Alan's performance. It's actually a good performance. The film does actually get better. And by the end of it, I actually didn't hate it. I actually liked it. But yeah, man, getting into this film was rough. Getting into this film was like watching the world's most obvious opening sequence, followed by like a training montage with just Alan Richson and a whole bunch of people that we were designed intentionally to not care a shit about, which sucks because, one of the things that I've heard people who have seen this compare it to is Lone Survivor, because it kind of has that like we're stuck in the middle of nowhere, nobody's coming for us type of vibe to it. The other characters in Lone Survivor had personalities. It wasn't just like Mark Wahlberg looking around and going like, "Who the f- are these guys and why are they with me?" But for Alan Richardson, it feels like that's so hard. Like it feels, it feels like 81 is just looking around and going like, what number are you?" And it makes it hard for the audience, especially a blind audience, to like try to follow numbers. I'm like 132 and 70. I don't know who these people are. So, um, yeah, it's not super conducive, but it also just isn't good character development. Like on top of it, it never really makes any real effort to have us know anything about these people at all. Like we barely know anything about 81. This film is using people as expendables, which is funny considering that Patrick Hughes directed Expendables 3. So he took that to heart and came back in and really kind of made them expendable and treated them as such too, to the point where when somebody dies, you're like, I don't know. The only reason that you care is because generally everyone who does die dies a pretty violent death. um, there are entire they come across other things that the war machine has conquered, and like bodies that are like scorched, just like completely things that are destroyed and melted and bodies blown apart and all these different kinds of things. So it's just, yeah, it's a bloody mess. But that's the only reason why you go, oh damn, is because generally when somebody and you're like, number whatever you were, rest in peace, man, God, or pieces. um, but there's no actual character development here. Like nobody has a backstory or anything like, I have a wife and kids at home. Gotta get back to them. Oh man, I hope the guy with the wife and kids at home makes it to the end of the movie. Nope. Don't know anything about any of these people for us to be able to hold on to them. So, while War Machine is entertaining to a point, it is to a point. Like, this is never going to be the greatest movie that's on Netflix. This is going to be a movie that you watch for a day and you go, that was fine. And a lot of that has to do with Patrick Hughes's ineptitude and his inability to write a coherent script. He does direct the action sequence as well, but once he gets left to a point with 81 and the gang, you know, um, he's left with 81 and people who feel like they're all gonna die. Like they're all expendable except for the one guy who commented on his tattoo. Like the one guy that bothered to say anything to him at all. I think there's like one female, which helps her stand out because she's like the lone female. I don't think they put more than one in here. I think they were like, that's her personality. I was like, being female is not a personality trait. Oh, so um this movie it's fine. I liked it. I did. Believe it or not, this is actually a fresh review because I swear to God, once they actually get into it, it's really fun. Like the last hour plus ish of the movie, what do I want to say, maybe like hour 15 of the movie is all, it's like, it's fun. It does feel a little bit like you're in a horror movie with a bunch of characters that you're just waiting to see them get killed off one by one because, Laurie Strode made a bunch of friends that don't have names. And you're just like, oh God, Michael's gonna have a field day with this cast. What's their name again? I don't know. Do you have a backstory? No. Not looking good for them. So, It's a lot of that. So when you get to the end of the film and you see who's remaining, you will not, you're gonna be like, yeah, that feels feels like this is where we were headed the whole time. But I don't know graphically what it looks like in terms of visual effects, but um, yeah, I did not hate this. I laugh at it a little bit, and I would laugh at Patrick Hughes for quite a bit of his choices in this film. I think somebody else would have made a better film, but I can say that about a lot of Netflix movies. I feel like Netflix movies don't get feedback. To be fair, this also was a Lionsgate co-production. I noticed that at the beginning when it said, when it gave the Lionsgate banner. So I don't know if Netflix acquired this from Lionsgate, like they didn't want to release it, or if it was a co-production or what it was, but somebody needed to be giving somebody feedback in this movie at some point. And I always feel like with Netflix movies, they're always short like a test screening. You know, they're always short like a focus group, or the studio heads actually bothering to watch the movie before they put it on a streaming service and going like, yeah, that seems good. They just don't want to spend any extra money on it. They're like, okay, here's the money that we give you, and we will not do reshoots. I don't care how bad the movie is. I don't care what you make. We're putting it on our streaming service with this price tag. So, um, they're not really committed to a quality film. And this is a film that would have benefited from feedback. It's a film that would have benefited from feedback on the script alone. On somebody going like, huh, who are these people? Who are these people? Can we invest ourselves maybe a little bit more in them? Um, so yeah, clunky writing, solid action. I'm gonna give War Machine 7.2 out of 10. It's good enough for a fresh score, and it's entertaining enough, and I did enjoy like most of the film, and even the parts where I was rolling my eyes. It's not like it was painful to watch. I wasn't just like, get me out of here. I was just like, this movie. So, yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. I'll see you guys on the other side.